The council chamber was the largest room in the known galaxy. It floated in the center of a space station that orbited no planet. Here, representatives from over 3,000 species gathered to discuss trade, borders, and peace. The ceiling stretched so high that clouds sometimes formed inside. Giant screens covered every wall, broadcasting the proceedings to trillions of beings across countless worlds. Una stood at the human delegation's platform. She was a small woman with short black hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple gray suit, nothing fancy. Around her, alien delegates towered in their colorful robes and shining armor. Some had scales. Others had fur. A few were made of living crystal. All of them looked down at the human section with curiosity or contempt. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council only 50 years ago. In that time, they had done nothing remarkable. They traded fairly. They kept their promises. They sent diplomats who smiled too much and asked too many questions. Most species considered humans to be harmless, weak, even. A young species, still learning its place in the universe. Today, everything was about to change. Emperor Vorthen of the Dominion rose from his throne at the center of the chamber. He was a massive creature, standing 12 feet tall. His skin was dark purple, and his forearms were thick with muscle. Golden chains hung from his neck, each one representing a conquered world. There were hundreds of them. The chamber fell silent. When Emperor Vorthen spoke, everyone listened. For too long, humanity has insulted the Dominion, he said. His voice was deep and filled the entire room. They have refused our reasonable demands. They have blocked our expansion into the outer territories. They have shown disrespect to our ancient traditions. Una kept her face neutral. She knew what the reasonable demands were. The Dominion wanted Earth to give them control of 3 colony worlds. They wanted access to human technology. They wanted humans to kneel before the Emperor whenever they met. The answer had been no. It would always be no. Emperor Vorthen raised all 4 of his arms. Therefore, by the authority of my ancestors and the strength of my fleets, I declare war upon the human species. In 30 standard days, our armada will reach Earth. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and you will know suffering beyond imagination. The chamber erupted in noise. Some species cheered. Others whispered among themselves. A few looked at the human platform with what might have been pity. The Dominion had conquered 47 species. None had survived the war intact. Most were now slaves, working in mines and factories across the empire. But Una did something unexpected. She smiled. It was not a nervous smile or a polite smile. It was the kind of smile a person makes when they hear a joke that only they understand. Her eyes sparkled with something that might have been excitement. The Emperor noticed. His 4 eyes narrowed. You find this amusing, human? Una stepped forward to her platform's edge. Her voice was clear and steady, amplified across the entire chamber. Forgive me, Emperor. I meant no disrespect. I was simply surprised by your announcement. Surprised? The Emperor's voice was dangerous now. Do you think we lack the strength to destroy your pathetic world? Oh. Not at all. Una said. I am sure your fleets are very impressive. I am surprised, because I will need to make some calls. This changes our schedule considerably. The chamber fell silent again. Everyone was staring at the small human woman who stood before the most powerful warlord in the galaxy without any fear in her eyes. A delegate from the Merchant Guild, a creature made of floating gas, spoke up. Ambassador, perhaps you do not understand the situation. The Dominion has never lost a war. Their fleet numbers in the millions. Earth has, what? A few thousand ships at most? That is the official number. Yes, Una said. She was still smiling. Emperor Vorthen laughed. It was a cruel sound. The human thinks she can bluff. How adorable. Tell me, Ambassador, what do you think will happen when my ships reach Earth? Una tilted her head slightly. I think you will learn something interesting about our species. And what is that? Humans are very good at keeping secrets. The Emperor waved one of his hands dismissively. Enough games. You have 30 days. Use them to say goodbye to your families. He turned to leave, but Yuna's voice stopped him. Emperor Vorthan, may I share a story before you go? The Emperor paused. Around the chamber, delegates leaned forward. Humans were known for their stories. Some found them charming, others found them boring, but everyone listened. When humans first developed space travel, Yuna began, we were excited to meet other life forms. We imagined wise beings who had achieved peace and enlightenment. We thought the galaxy would welcome us with open arms. She paused, looking around the chamber at the thousands of aliens watching her. Instead, we found war. We found empires that conquered and enslaved. We found species that saw us as nothing more than resources to be used. We realized that the galaxy was not a peaceful place. Yuna's smile faded, replaced by something harder, something colder. So we prepared. For 50 years, we have prepared. We built ships in hidden places. We trained soldiers in secret facilities. We developed weapons that we never showed to anyone. We smiled and nodded, and pretended to be harmless because we did not want to fight. She looked directly at Emperor Vorthan. But we were always ready to fight. We were just hoping we would not have to. The chamber was completely silent now. The Emperor stared at the small human woman. For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. It might have been doubt. Then he laughed again. A wonderful story, Ambassador. But stories do not win wars. Ships do. Soldiers do. And you have neither. He walked away, his golden chains clicking against each other. Yuna watched him go. Then she turned to her assistant, a young man named Junho, who stood behind her. His face was pale. Contact Admiral Taeho, she said quietly. Tell him the waiting is over. Tell him we finally have permission. Permission for what? Junho asked. Yuna's smile returned. It was not a kind smile. Permission to show them who we really are. She walked off the platform, heading for the communication room. Around her, alien delegates whispered and pointed. Most of them thought she was crazy. A few wondered if they had made a terrible mistake by underestimating the small species from the blue planet. In 30 days, they would find out. And in exactly 29 days, the Galactic Council would learn why no human envoy had ever shown fear. It was because they had nothing to fear. Not anymore. Admiral Taeho sat in his command chair and stared at the message on his screen. He had read it 3 times already. The words did not change. War had been declared. The Dominion was coming. And Ambassador Yuna had given him permission to wake up the sleeping giant. He was an older man with gray hair and a face full of lines. Each line told a story. He had served in the military for 40 years. He had trained soldiers who had never seen real battle. He had built ships that had never fired their weapons. He had waited his entire career for this moment. Part of him had hoped it would never come. Around him, the bridge of the carrier ship Eternal was quiet. His crew worked at their stations, monitoring systems and checking data. None of them knew about the message yet. None of them knew that their lives were about to change forever. Lieutenant Minji approached his chair. She was young, barely 30, with sharp eyes and quick hands. She was the best pilot Taeho had ever trained. Sir, we received a priority message from the council station, she said. Ambassador Yuna requests an immediate response. I know. Taeho stood up slowly. His bones ached. He was getting too old for this. Gather the senior officers in the conference room, all of them, and activate the secure channel to High Command. Minji's eyes widened slightly. The secure channel had never been used before, not once in the 50 years since it was created. Yes, sir. She hurried away. Taeho walked to the window and looked out at the stars. The Eternal was hidden in a gas cloud at the edge of human space. From here, he could see a cluster of distant suns. Each one might have planets. Each planet might have life. Each life form might be watching and waiting to see what humanity would do. He thought about Earth. He thought about his wife and his 2 grandchildren. He thought about the billions of people who lived their lives without knowing how close they were to destruction. They would know soon enough. The conference room filled quickly. Taeho's senior officers sat around the long table. their faces curious and worried. They knew something important was happening. They just did not know what. Taeho stood at the head of the table. He activated the main screen, and a map of the galaxy appeared. Human space was marked in blue. It was a small patch compared to the vast red territory of the Dominion. 3 hours ago, Emperor Vorthan declared war on humanity, Taeho said. The room went silent. Then everyone started talking at once. That is impossible. We have done nothing to provoke them. Our defenses are not ready. We need more time. This must be a mistake. Perhaps it is just a threat. Taeho raised his hand. The room went quiet again. It is not a threat. And it is not a mistake. The Emperor believes we are weak. He believes his fleet will crush us in days. He has given us 30 days to surrender. Commander Sujin, his second in command, leaned forward. She was a serious woman who rarely showed emotion, but now her jaw was tight with anger. Then we must show him how wrong he is. Yes, Taeho said. We must. But first, you all need to understand something. Everything you know about our military is wrong. He pressed a button, and the map changed. New markers appeared across human space. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. Then tens of thousands. What am I looking at? Lieutenant Do-hyun asked. He was in charge of weapons, and he knew exactly how many ships humanity officially had. You are looking at our real fleet, Taeho said. The ships you know about represent only 5% of our true strength. The rest have been hidden in places like this, built in secret, crewed by volunteers who were sworn to silence. The officers stared at the map. Their faces showed disbelief, shock, and slowly, understanding. For 50 years, we pretended to be weak, Taeho continued. We wanted the galaxy to ignore us. We wanted time to grow stronger. We smiled at every insult. We backed down from every confrontation. We let other species think we were cowards. He looked around the table, meeting each officer's eyes. We were never cowards. We were patient. And now our patience has paid off. Commander Sujin found her voice first. How many ships do we have? Total? 240,000 combat vessels, 50,000 support ships, 300 million trained soldiers, and weapons that no alien has ever seen. The room was silent again. But this time, it was a different kind of silence. It was the silence of people who were realizing that history was about to change. The Dominion thinks they know how to fight, Taeho said. They have conquered species for thousands of years. They have never faced a serious challenge. They believe that strength comes from size, from numbers, from fear. He pulled up an image of a human soldier. The figure was covered in black armor, holding a rifle that glowed with blue light. They have never faced humans. They do not know that we fought each other for 10,000 years before we reached the stars. They do not know that we invented war. They do not know that every terrible weapon in this galaxy started as an idea in a human mind. Taeho's voice grew harder. We did not share these weapons because we did not want to. We hoped we would never need them. We hoped that the galaxy would leave us alone. But the Dominion has forced our hand. They have given us no choice. He pressed another button. The screen showed a countdown timer. 29 days remaining. In 29 days, the Dominion fleet will enter our territory. They expect to find a few thousand ships crewed by frightened farmers. Instead, they will find us. They will find Commander Hana and the First Fleet waiting for them. They will find technology that makes their weapons look like toys. Commander Hana? Sujin asked. I have never heard of her. You would not have. She has been preparing for this war since before you were born. She commands our most advanced ships from a station that does not officially exist. When the Dominion arrives, she will greet them. Taeho smiled, and it was a cold smile. It will not be a friendly greeting. Lieutenant Minji raised her hand. Sir, what happens after we defeat them? The galaxy will know about us. Everyone will know what we can do. Taeho nodded. He had thought about this for years. Yes. They will know. And they will have to decide what to do with that knowledge. Some will fear us, Some will try to destroy us before we grow stronger. But many will realize something important. What is that, sir? That humanity never wanted to fight. We only wanted to be left alone. We only wanted peace. If the galaxy can give us that, we will be their greatest friends. If they cannot, he did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. The officers understood. Begin wake-up procedures for the hidden fleets. Tejo ordered. Contact all secret installations. Tell them Operation Sunrise is active. Tell them the waiting is over. The officers stood and hurried to their stations. The Eternal came alive with activity. Messages flew across space to hidden bases and secret ships. Soldiers who had trained their whole lives for a battle that might never come learned that it was finally time. And across the galaxy, the Dominion continued to celebrate their coming victory. They had no idea what was coming for them. Commander Hana watched the enemy fleet enter the system. She counted the ships on her screen. 10,000 warships. 3,000 support vessels. 2 million soldiers ready to invade. It was a smaller force than she had expected. The Dominion was confident. They thought this would be easy. She almost felt sorry for them. Almost. Hana was 52 years old. She had spent 30 of those years preparing for this exact moment. She had trained in secret academies. She had tested weapons that did not officially exist. She had run thousands of simulations against every known enemy fleet in the galaxy. She had never lost. Not once. All ships report ready, her tactical officer said. His name was Kyung, and he had served under her for 15 years. His voice was calm, but she could see the excitement in his eyes. Good. Hana leaned forward in her chair. Remember the plan. We do not show everything at once. We want survivors. We want them to run back to the Emperor and tell him what they saw. Yes, Commander. The human defense station was positioned at the edge of the colony system. On the surface of the nearby planet, 3 million civilians waited. They had been told to stay calm. They had been told that help was coming. They did not know that help was already here. Hana's fleet was invisible. Their ships used technology that bent light around them. They made no heat. They made no noise. To the Dominion sensors, the space around the colony was empty, except for the small defense station. General Kravoth commanded the Dominion fleet. He was a veteran of 30 campaigns. He had personally executed the leaders of 6 conquered species. He believed this mission would be his easiest victory. His flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds, moved to the front of the formation. His voice boomed across all channels. Humans of this colony, your government has foolishly declared war on the Dominion. You have 1 hour to surrender. If you do not, we will destroy your station and kill everyone on the planet below. Choose wisely. Hana smiled. She picked up her communicator and broadcast her response. General Kravoth, my name is Commander Hana of the United Earth Fleet. I have a counteroffer. Turn your ships around and go home. If you do not, I will destroy your fleet and send you back to the Emperor in an escape pod. Silence, then laughter. Kravoth's crew was laughing at her. 1 station and perhaps 100 ships, Kravoth said. Against 10,000 warships. You humans truly are insane. Resent. Maybe, Hana said, but we are also very good at math, and the math says you should run. Kravoth ended the communication. His fleet advanced toward the station. Their weapons powered up. In minutes, they would be in firing range. Hana watched them come. She waited until they crossed an invisible line that only she could see. Now, she said softly. Her invisible fleet appeared. Not 100 ships. Not 1,000. 5,000 warships surrounded the Dominion fleet. They had been there all along, waiting in silence. Their hulls were black, covered in angles that made them hard to see even without the cloaking technology. Their weapons glowed with blue fire. General Kravoth had 1 second to feel fear. Then Hana's fleet opened fire. The human weapons were unlike anything the Dominion had seen. They did not fire missiles or energy beams. They fired something worse. Small projectiles that moved at nearly the speed of light. Each one hit with the force of a nuclear bomb. Each one passed through shields like they were not there. The first wave destroyed 300 Dominion ships. The second wave destroyed 500 more. By the time General Kravoth gave the order to return fire, he had already lost a quarter of his fleet. Dominion weapons fired back. Their missiles flew toward the human ships. Their energy cannons shot beams of green light. They hit their targets. Nothing happened. The human ships had shields too. But their shields were different. They absorbed energy. They ate missiles. They turned every attack into more power for their own weapons. Impossible, Kravoth whispered. This is impossible. Hana's voice came through his speakers again. General, you have lost 3,000 ships. You have damaged 0 of mine. I suggest you reconsider my offer. Kravoth was a proud warrior. He had never retreated. He had never surrendered. But he was not stupid. He knew when a battle was lost. All ships fall back. Emergency jump to Dominion space. The surviving ships turned and ran. Their engines flared as they tried to build enough speed to jump away. Hana let them go. She needed survivors. She needed witnesses. But she also needed to send a message. Target the flagship, she ordered. Disable their engines. I want General Kravoth alive. A single shot from her ship hit the destroyer of worlds. The massive warship shuddered and stopped moving. Its engines were gone. Its weapons were dead. It drifted in space like a broken toy. Around it, the rest of the Dominion fleet jumped away. In seconds, they were gone. Only the flagship remained. Surrounded by the wreckage of 3,000 destroyed ships, Hana walked to the communication console. General Kravoth, please respond. Static, then a voice, shaking with shock and rage. What? What are you? We are humans, Hana said. We are the species you thought you could conquer in 30 days. We are the species that has been preparing for this war. Since before your grandfather was born, you tricked us. You hid your true strength. Yes, and now you will go back to your emperor and tell him what you saw. Tell him that this was a small fleet. Tell him that we have 200,000 more ships waiting. Tell him that if he continues this war, we will not stop at defense. We will come for him. Kravoth was silent for a long moment. He will not surrender. He cannot. It would destroy the empire. That is his choice, Hana said. But make sure he understands something. We did not want this war. We did not start this war, but we will end it. One way or another, we will end it. She signaled to her crew. A shuttle launched from her ship and approached the broken flagship. It would take General Kravoth aboard and give him a small, jump-capable vessel. He would fly back to the Emperor and deliver her message. Around her, the human fleet began to clean up the battlefield. Search teams looked for survivors in the wreckage. Medical ships prepared to treat the wounded, even enemy wounded, because humans were strange like that. They could destroy a fleet in minutes, but they would still try to save the survivors. They could be merciless in battle, but kind in victory. It confused the Dominion prisoners. They did not understand how the same species could be both. Hana understood. Humans were complicated. They could love and hate. They could build and destroy. They could show mercy or show none. It depended on what the situation required. Today required destruction. Tomorrow might require mercy. She would be ready for both. As her fleet secured the system, messages flew across the galaxy. The Dominion survivors reported what they had seen. The numbers. The technology. The speed of the human response. And slowly, species across the galaxy began to wonder if they had made a terrible mistake by ignoring the small blue planet called Earth. The war had only just begun. But already, everything had changed. The Galactic Council chamber was quiet. Usually, thousands of delegates talked and argued and made deals. Today, they sat in silence and watched the recording. The recording showed the battle. It showed 5,000 human ships appearing from nothing. It showed Dominion warships exploding like paper in fire. It showed General Kravoth's flagship being disabled with a single shot. When the recording ended, no one spoke for a long time. Emperor Vorthan sat on his throne. His face was dark, with anger and something else. Something that might have been fear. He had lost 3,000 ships. He had lost 200,000 soldiers. He had lost something more important than both. He had lost the image of being unbeatable. A delegate from the Science Collective raised one of its many arms. The collective was a species of researchers who studied everything. They had no military. They had no enemies. They simply wanted to understand. "We have analyzed the recording," the delegate said. "The human weapons use a technology we have never seen before. They fire solid projectiles at 98% of light speed. The impact force is extraordinary." "How did they develop this?" another delegate asked. "They have only been in space for 200 years. We investigated their planet." The Science Collective delegate continued. "We discovered something disturbing. Earth is what we call a death world." The chamber stirred. Death worlds were rare. They were planets so dangerous that intelligent life should not be able to evolve there. Most species avoided them completely. "Earth has extreme conditions," the delegate explained. "The temperature changes by 50 degrees between seasons. The planet is covered in oceans that create massive storms. There are earthquakes, volcanoes, and floods. The other life forms on the planet are designed to kill. Large predators, poisonous insects, bacteria that can destroy a body in days." Emperor Vorthan spoke for the first time. "You are saying humans evolved on this death world?" "Yes. And that is only part of the story. Humans did not just survive their planet. They conquered it. They killed or tamed every predator. They built shelters against every storm. They developed medicine against every disease. They became the dominant species on a world that should have destroyed them." The delegate paused. Its many eyes looked around the chamber. "But the most disturbing part is their history with each other." A screen appeared showing images from Earth's past. Cities burning, armies marching, weapons firing, ships sinking, explosions that looked like small suns. Humans fought each other constantly. For 10,000 years, they had war after war. They invented weapons specifically designed to kill other humans. They developed tactics and strategies that no other species has imagined. They turned war into a science. The chamber was silent. Many species had wars in their history, but none had wars like humans. 200 years ago, humans developed weapons that could destroy their entire planet. We believed this would end their civilization. Instead, they did something unexpected. They stopped fighting each other. They united. They looked at the stars and decided to reach for them. The Science Collective delegate lowered its arms. "We now believe this was a deliberate choice. Humans did not become peaceful because they lost the ability to fight. They became peaceful because they chose to stop fighting. The violence is still there. They simply directed it elsewhere." A merchant guild delegate spoke up. "Directed it where?" "Preparation. For 50 years, they have been preparing for a war with the galaxy. They expected someone would eventually threaten them. They built ships and weapons and trained soldiers. They hid everything so well that our best spies found nothing." Emperor Vorthan slammed his fist on his throne. "Enough! They have 5,000 ships. We have millions. We will simply send a larger fleet." "With respect, Emperor," the Science Collective delegate said, "you are missing the point. The fleet that destroyed General Kravoth was not their main force. It was a defense unit stationed at a minor colony. Human military reports suggest they have over 200,000 warships, and their technology is generations ahead of ours." Another delegate stood up. She was from a species called the Remembers, beings who recorded and preserved history. Her voice was old and tired. "We have encountered species like humans before," she said. "Once, long ago. They were called the Destroyers. They conquered half the galaxy in a single generation. They killed trillions. They nearly ended all intelligent life." The chamber stirred with fear. Everyone knew the stories of the Destroyers. They were ancient history. But the memory remained. The Destroyers were eventually defeated by a coalition of every other species. It took 3,000 years and cost countless lives. We swore we would never let another such species rise. She looked at the human section of the chamber. Yuna stood there, calm and patient, watching everything. But humans are different. They have the same potential for violence, the same ability to make war, but they also have something the destroyers lacked. They have compassion. They have mercy. They rescued enemy survivors after the battle. They offered medical aid to wounded Dominion soldiers. The Remember's voice grew softer. Humans are not monsters. They are something more complicated. They can be the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. They can also be the most kind. The question is, which version we force them to be. Emperor Vorthon stood up. His forearms were shaking with rage. You suggest we surrender? You suggest we bow to these creatures? I suggest we think carefully about what happens next, the Remember said. If we continue this war, humans will fight. They will win, and each battle will teach them that the galaxy is their enemy. They will become what we fear most. And if we stop, they might become something else. Allies, partners, friends. They have shown they prefer peace. They have shown they will fight only when forced. Perhaps we should stop forcing them. The chamber erupted in argument. Some delegates agreed with the Remember. Others supported the Emperor. Species who had feared the Dominion saw an opportunity. Species who had profited from Dominion rule saw a threat. Through it all, Yuna stood quietly. She did not speak. She did not need to. The galaxy was finally seeing humanity clearly. Some saw a threat. Others saw a savior. Most saw a mystery. What they all saw was power. Real power. The kind of power that could reshape the galaxy, and all of them wondered what humanity would do with it. Emperor Vorthon finally raised his hand for silence. His face was stone. His pride was wounded. But he was not a fool. He knew the numbers. He knew the technology gap. He knew that continuing the war would only make things worse. But he also knew that surrendering would destroy everything he had built. He had a choice to make. The entire galaxy waited to see what it would be. We will continue this discussion tomorrow, he said. I need time to consider our options. He walked out of the chamber. His golden chains felt heavier than before, and in the human section, Yuna finally allowed herself a small smile. The war was not over, but the first victory was won. Tomorrow, she would offer them a way out, a chance for peace, a new beginning. Whether they took it was up to them. Yuna walked into the council chamber for the second time. The room felt different now. When she had first stood here, aliens had looked at her with contempt. Now they watched her with something else. Respect, fear, curiosity. She preferred curiosity. Fear made people dangerous. Respect could be lost. But curiosity meant they wanted to understand. The chamber was full again. Every delegate had returned. Some had brought extra advisors. Some had brought security guards. All of them wanted to hear what the human ambassador would say. Emperor Vorthon was already on his throne. He looked older than before. The last 3 days had not been kind to him. Reports kept coming in. More human fleets appearing from hidden locations. More technology that defied explanation. More evidence that the Dominion had made a terrible mistake. Yuna walked to her platform. She did not hurry. She let them watch her. She let them see a small human woman who was not afraid of anyone in the room. When she reached the platform, she turned to face the chamber. Her voice was clear and calm. 3 days ago, Emperor Vorthon declared war on humanity. I smiled. Many of you wondered why. Some thought I was crazy. Others thought I was bluffing. Today, I will explain. She pressed a button, and a screen appeared behind her. It showed Earth, blue oceans, green land, white clouds. This is my home. It is a small planet in a small solar system. For most of our history, we thought we were alone in the universe. We looked at the stars and dreamed of friends among them. The image changed to show humans meeting aliens for the first time. The expressions on the human faces were hopeful, excited, innocent. 50 years ago, we learned we were not alone. We were overjoyed. We sent diplomats with open hearts. We offered friendship to everyone we met. We wanted to be part of the galactic community. The image changed again. Now it showed humans being cheated in trade deals, humans being insulted at council meetings, humans being threatened by warships. We learned quickly that the galaxy was not friendly. We learned that other species saw us as weak, as targets, as slaves waiting to be conquered. We learned that our dreams of friendship were foolish. Yuna's voice did not change. It stayed calm and steady. But something in her eyes grew harder. We had a choice. We could give up and accept our place at the bottom. We could fight back immediately and probably die. Or we could do something else. Something human. We pretended. The screen showed human diplomats smiling at insults. Human traders accepting bad deals. Human ships retreating from confrontations. We pretended to be weak. We pretended to be harmless. We let the galaxy believe whatever it wanted to believe about us. And while we pretended, we prepared. We built weapons in secret. We trained soldiers in hidden bases. We developed technology that we never showed anyone. We did this for 50 years. 50 years of insults. 50 years of being treated like nothing. 50 years of waiting for the day when someone would finally push too hard. Yuna looked at Emperor Vorthan. You pushed too hard. The Emperor said nothing. His 4 eyes stared at her with cold fury. When you declared war, I smiled because I was relieved. For 50 years, we had to pretend. We had to hide who we really were. We had to watch other species suffer under your rule and do nothing. It was painful. It was exhausting. It was against everything we wanted to be. Her voice softened slightly. My smile was not joy at war. It was relief that we could finally stop pretending, that we could finally show the galaxy who we are. She pressed another button. The screen changed to show the aftermath of the battle. Dominion survivors being rescued by human medics. Wounded enemy soldiers being treated in human hospitals. General Kravoth being given a ship to return home. This is who we are. We can fight. We can destroy. We can wage war better than anyone. But we do not want to. We never wanted to. We only wanted to live in peace. Yuna stepped forward to the edge of her platform. I am here today to offer you a choice. The same choice we faced 50 years ago. This one. Option 1. Continue the war. Send more fleets. Lose more ships. Watch your empire crumble piece by piece. We will defend ourselves. We will not start attacking your worlds, but we will destroy every fleet you send until you have nothing left. Option 2. Accept peace. End the war today. We will not demand territory. We will not demand payment. We will not demand apologies. We will simply go back to being a small, peaceful species that wants to trade and explore and learn. The chamber was completely silent. Every delegate held their breath. But, Yuna continued, there is a condition for peace. It is not negotiable. Emperor Vorthan spoke, his voice rough. What condition? What condition? No more conquests, no more slavery. The Dominion must release every species it holds in chains. The Empire can keep its current territory, but the expansion ends. The suffering ends. The chamber exploded in noise. Some delegates cheered. These were species that had been conquered or threatened by the Dominion. Others shouted in anger. These were species that profited from the current system. Emperor Vorthan raised his hand for silence. It took longer than usual. His authority was weakened. You expect me to destroy my own empire? No, Yuna said. I expect you to transform it. The Dominion can still be great. It can still be powerful. But it must be powerful through cooperation, not conquest. Through trade, not theft. Through respect, not fear. And if I refuse? Yuna smiled again. This time, it was a sad smile. Then we will do something we really do not want to do. We will go to war properly. Not defense. Not protection. Real war. We will come for your shipyards and your factories. We will come for your military bases and your supply lines. We will take apart everything you built until there is nothing left to threaten anyone. She paused. We will not enjoy it. We will not celebrate. Every death will hurt us. But we will do it because we have learned something important in our history. Sometimes, the only way to stop evil is to destroy it completely. The remembered delegate from the previous day stood up. Emperor Vorthen, I have studied many civilizations. I have watched many empires rise and fall. The humans are offering you something rare, a chance to survive, a chance to change. I suggest you take it. Other delegates spoke up. The Merchant Guild offered to help restructure trade deals. The Science Collective offered to share technology. Even some Dominion allies suggested that change might not be so bad. Emperor Vorthan sat on his throne for a long time. His golden chains hung around his neck, each one representing a conquered world, a lifetime of victories, a legacy of power. Finally, he reached up and removed the chains. They fell to the floor with a sound like breaking bones. I accept your terms, he said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard. The war is over. The conquests are over. We will try something new. The chamber erupted in celebration. Delegates who had been enemies moments ago began talking about trade and cooperation. Species that had been conquered started making plans for freedom. Through it all, Yuna stood on her platform. She watched the chaos with tired eyes. 50 years of preparation, 3 days of war. And now, finally, peace. Her assistant Junho appeared beside her. You did it, he said. You changed the galaxy. We did it, she corrected. All of humanity. Everyone who pretended. Everyone who waited. Everyone who hoped that someday we would get a chance to show who we really are. She looked out at the celebrating delegates. Somewhere in the crowd, enemies were becoming friends. Old wounds were beginning to heal. The galaxy was taking its first step towards something better. What happens now? Junho asked. Yuna smiled. Not the grin from 3 days ago. A real smile. A hopeful smile. Now we do what we always wanted to do. We make friends. We explore the stars. We build something worth building. She turned and walked toward the exit. Now we finally get to be human. The war was over. The pretending was over. A new story was just beginning.